Big Gamer out here. How are you guys doing today? I'm super. Thanks for asking. Hey guys, welcome back to Biggest Surprises of E3 2017 Part 2. And these are my biggest surprises, guys, so if I miss something you care about, feel free to leave it in the comments below. So I'm going to start with Sony. Monster Hunter World just blew my mind. I couldn't believe that Sony managed to get Monster Hunter back. We haven't seen this since the days of the PSP and PS2, where Sony really held that franchise and took a massive market share in Japan because of it. This will really push PlayStation 4 sales in Japan, and it will help Sony stay on top of Microsoft. It looks really good. It's nice to have a new mainline Monster Hunter on consoles again. It's been about 8 years since we've had that, and it looked big, the scale looked good, the combat looked good, and I was really impressed with that, guys. So, Shadow of the Colossus, again. Shadow of the Colossus has already been re-released and remastered, but they're also going to release the game all over again. But this time they're going to actually bring in new assets and what looks like a new graphics engine, but what looks like to be the same game still. So I was really shocked, really surprised. I thought what I was looking at was a sequel to Shadow of the Colossus for about 10 to 20 seconds, and then I quickly realised actually this is still the original Shadow of the Colossus, but they're actually going to remaster it in a more significant way than they did before, bring it to the PlayStation 4. And looking at that graphics engine, it's probably going to get 4K support on Pro, so that would be nice as well. I was surprised to see more Shadow of the Colossus. I was not expecting that, guys. And then my third real big surprise from Sony was PlayStation VR is still alive. I have a PSVR headset and it was really good for me to see more VR stuff coming. Now, Skyrim VR is something I'm going to be massively interested in as a big Skyrim fan. But I was a little surprised we didn't get a Fallout 4 in VR. And I think that's maybe something to do with the engine. It's maybe a little bit too demanding for PlayStation 4. Maybe they could have got it running on the Pro, but they're not going to be able to drop PlayStation 4 support all out because obviously the install base is on original PlayStation 4, and a lot of those guys have got the PlayStation VR headset and they're going to want to play it too. So I think Skyrim VR is a nice compromise there, and it is certainly a game that I think is going to sell really well for them. There were a few other VR games that caught my eye. One was Impatient, which looks to be an FMV title starring Elijah Wood and maybe being directed by him too, which was kind of strange. And Bravo Team, which seems to be a traditional first-person shooter online multiplayer game, but in VR, and that seemed to work pretty well. At times it did look a little bit like a Time Crisis, where you'd be ducking behind cover a lot and using tactics to kind of flank the enemies and stuff like that. But it did look quite interesting. I wouldn't mind giving a traditional first-person shooter a try in VR as well. So the next people I'm going to talk about are Ubisoft, and they really surprised me too. They actually had a few decent surprises. A couple that I'm going to mention. One, Mario and Rabbids isn't what a lot of people were expecting. It actually looks a lot more like an XCOM meets Valkyria Chronicles. Probably a little bit more on the Valkyria Chronicles side, in that it is a kind of turn-based strategy RPG, and it uses the action points system, but in a much more fluid way. It's similar to XCOM and Valkyria Chronicles, where you've actually got a kind of distance you can move and attack within, and there's a lot of different power-ups, and it does seem to be some RPG elements in there as well. It's a lot deeper than I was expecting, and it's kind of come away from the conference as being a bit of an industry darling because of it. It's something I'm really interested into, and what's really crazy is the game's actually going to be released in 2 months' time, so we're going to get to play it really soon, and that's exciting. Then I almost lost my mind when I realised they were announcing Beyond Good and Evil 2. So it's another cinematic trailer like the one from about 8 years ago, but I didn't realise until a few seconds in that what I was seeing was Beyond Good and Evil 2, and then I just started to lose my mind. This time it does look to be a prequel to the original game, so Jade probably won't be in the game. It seems to be set quite a time before then. The characters look good in the game, and I can't complain too much. I know it's only a cinematic trailer, but I wanted more Beyond Good and Evil, and this seems to be more of that, so can't complain there. And then I want to talk about Nintendo. So Nintendo really, they had a lot of good stuff there, but it's just one thing I really want to talk about. One thing that everyone really was hoping for out of this conference, and that is Metroid is back. So they showed a quick teaser trailer for Metroid Prime 4, which really only kind of showed the logo, but it just let us know that Metroid Prime is in development at Retro Studios, and we will be getting a proper follow-up to Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. And then, also, Samus returns again on the 3DS, this time brought to us by Mercury Steam, the guys that brought us Lords of Shadow, and it's going to be a 2D traditional style, like Super Metroid style Metroid game. And it's good to see, that Metroid is back, that Nintendo's listening to its fans, that the momentum behind the 3DS and the Switch is such that Nintendo feels confident to be able to bring these games out. I don't think they would really bring these games out and push these games unless they were confident of getting roughly 1 million in sales. So I think they think at this point the install base is there and they'll be able to actually push this game and really bring us the true Metroid that we deserve. So E3 was a good year this year. I think there was a lot of surprises. I was a little bit surprised that Sony wasn't a bit stronger than it was, but all in all, lots of good stuff there, guys. I hope you enjoyed these videos. I'm going to get back to my regular reviews and the like soon, so feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll keep bringing you the content. Cheers.